All right, good evening, everybody. Today is Wednesday, December 21st, 2022. The time is 6:30 p.m., and I am calling this meeting of the Macomb Township Board of Trustees to order. We now say the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Posey, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Trustee Cusimano?
Here.
Trustee Lucido?
Here.
Trustee Oliver?
Here.
Trustee Nevers?
Present.
Treasurer Drollet?
Here.
Clerk Posey here. Supervisor Viviano?
Here.
All members are present.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections?
Mr. Chairman, at this time, we have one proposed removal, which is to remove item number 26, which is closed session. That's all I have.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda as corrected?
I move to approve the agenda as corrected.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, motion by Treasurer Gillette, supported by Clerk Posey, to approve the agenda as amended. Members, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to approval of the bills. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on the bill run? Hearing no discussion, motion by Treasurer Gillette, supported by Clerk Posey, to approve the bills. Members, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on, number 4, approval of the previous meeting's minutes from December 7th, 2022. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion on the previous meeting's minutes? Hearing none, motion by Trustee Lucido, supported by Trustee Nevers, to approve the previous meeting's minutes from December 7th. Members, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to public comment. This is public comment on agenda items. If there is anybody participating remotely who wishes to participate, please digitally raise your hand. Anybody present may use the microphone on the right-hand side of the room. Nobody present. Is there anybody remotely? No, sir. No one wishes to comment at this time. We will move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent items?
Motion to approve the consent agenda in its entirety.
Second.
Any discussion on any of the consent items? Hearing none. Motion by Treasurer Gillette, supported by Clerk Posey, to approve the consent agenda. Members, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. This takes us to the first of two presentations this evening. The first will be from Plant Morant, our auditor.
Hello, everybody. My name is Justin Cobo. I'm with Plant Moran, and with me we have David Harrington. He's the partner, and we also have Jacob Janes, who is the manager on the account. We're here to present the audit results for the year ended June 30th, 2022. Within your packets, you should have had 3 different deliverables. The first would be the large bound document, which is the financial statement. You'd also have the report to the Board of Trustees, which is like 7 or 8 pages long. And then we'll also have a graph package that we're going to go through tonight just to kind of cover some of the financial results for the township for the year ended June 30, 2022. We have covered all these documents in great detail with management, so we figured we'd keep this presentation a little bit more brief. But before we get into that, I do want to thank Stacy and her entire team. She does a great job of being prepared for us. We're out here for a handful of weeks, and the questions kind of trickle in for several weeks after that. So we do appreciate her preparedness and her willingness to answer all of our questions. She's done a really great job, and you guys have a great team out here. From an audit perspective, the township was able to receive an unmodified opinion on the financial statements, which is the highest level of assurance on the financial statements that we're able to provide. It does state that the financial statements are in compliance with all the rules and regulations. So we are happy to provide that, that unmodified opinion. That is something that's earned and not just given out. In the current year, the township did implement a new accounting standard, which was required for all local governments. It did revolve around lease accounting. As a result, there have been lessor and lessee transactions reported within the township's financial statements during the year, and this would have been the first time that would have been reported within the financial statements. High level, there was really no change in the cash flows of those leases. It was just a change in the basis of the reporting of those, and those transactions have been reported appropriately. From a high level, the township continues to be in sound financial position. They've done a nice job of taking advantage of the COVID-related grant monies that have been made available to the township and other local governments. And so, as you'll see in the financial state or the graph presentation that Jacob's about to present, that the township continues to be in sound financial position. So we're happy about that, and happy to be partnering with the township for many years to come as we kind of work through the different strategies that the township has coming forth. Just a couple of brief comments on the report to the Board of Trustees. Within here, this is a follow-up to the pre-audit communication that we would have sent out on the front end of the audit that kind of describes the scope and timing of the audit. I'll refer to this as a no exception report in the current year, which really states that the audit went in accordance with our plan there. And so if there was any exceptions there, we would call that out here. So we're happy that there wasn't anything within that. There is another section in there related to legislative and informational items that we just include just for your reading pleasure, if you do have some extra time here over the holidays. But overall, again, we're happy that if there was any deficiencies in the internal control, we would also present that as part of this letter. That section is not in here as we did not identify any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in the township's internal controls. So with that, I figured rather than going through the financial statements in great detail, I'd have Jacob go through the financial statement, the graph presentation that highlights those results for the year ended June 30, 2022.
Thank you, Justin. So as Justin just said, I'm going to take us through a handful of slides that kind of just highlight the township's financial performance and position at the end of 2022. So if you're able to open up to the first graph page in your packet.
I don't know that we got the slide presentation.
Oh, you got them over there? Good. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yeah, I think we have just the report and the. That's all right. I blame Stacy. All those nice things you said about Stacy, and take them all back now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so the first three slides in this presentation are going to cover the governmental funds. So that's essentially everything township-wide apart from the water and sewer. So the first slide in here is the governmental fund revenues. A quick glance at the graph on the top shows a general trend upward in revenues year over year. So this is revenues for 2020 through 2021, and then broken down into further detail below by revenue source. So there is a general trend upwards year over year. If you take a look at the table below, though, you'll see that most sources have been consistent over the past 3 years, with really just a handful of outliers. So the first big outlier being federal.
I'm going to ask you to bring that mic just a little bit closer for you, okay?
Is this better?
Much better. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the first outlier in this being federal revenue, which declined from 2021 to 2022 as a result of a decrease in spending of COVID federal funds. The second big outlier that shows itself in the table is the change in state sources, so state shared revenue. That saw a pretty significant increase from 2021 to 2022, which accounts for the bulk of the increase overall in revenues year over year. The next slide in the packet shows expenditures for the governmental funds. Same idea here. So from 2020 to 2022, there's a general trend downward. Looking at the table and digging into the details a bit more, it shows that most expenditures have been consistent, or at least categories of expenditures, consistent year over year, with a big outlier here being capital outlay spending. So that has seen a decrease from 10.3 million to 7.7 to 3.9 year over year, which is really the main driving force behind this trend downward in expenditures overall. So the third slide in the presentation is governmental fund balances. So at a quick glance, this presents a very healthy picture of the township. Fund balances did increase overall from 2021 to 2022 as a result of revenues exceeding expenditures. So the fund balance contains a pretty large portion for that's unassigned to be used for general township activities. A large portion in orange there that are assigned for street and capital projects, parks and recreation spending, and other uses. And then a component in orange which is restricted, and that's restricted for specific purposes like police and fire spending and other miscellaneous items. So moving into the next two slides, these both get into the township's retirement plan liabilities. So there is both a pension and a retiree health care slide. And I'll start with the pension. So this slide shows the pension plan's funding status for the previous 3 years, with the total pension liability presenting itself in the blue, and the plan's net position or assets available to pay for the liability in orange. So this pension plan has seen its funding status go from 76% in 2020 to 114 last year, and down to 96.8 this year. So although there was a decline year over year, this is primarily due to investments, market value decreasing, as everyone has seen in the past year or so. So that continues to be a very healthy number. 96.8 is a lot higher of a funding percentage than you'd see in many townships. There's actually data available on the Michigan's Department of Treasury website. And I was able to do a quick comparison. So it's only available for 2021, which isn't exactly apples to apples, given the investment performance that everyone has seen from year to year. But if you were to look at data from that website for similar townships with similar sized pension liabilities, the average funding percentage at the end of 2021 was about 83%. So given that investments have decreased so much across the board, you'd expect that to actually decline year over year, so comparing 83% or less to Macomb Township's 96.8% really puts into perspective how well funded this pension plan is and how good of a job the township has done in keeping up on top of that liability. So the next slide gets into the retiree health care liability, or it's often called OPEB. This is quite a bit larger liability for the township just due to its nature. And this is actually in a healthier position than the pension plan. So year over year, same idea. The OPEB liability is shown in blue, and the net position, or again, assets available to pay for the liability, are in orange. So this has actually stayed above 110% funded each of the previous 3 years, which is very good status to be in. So again, there's data available to compare to similar sized townships. If you compare the average OPEB funding percentage for 2021 of similar townships with similar size OPEB liabilities, that you'll see that the average funding percentage is right around 50%. So the fact that Macomb Townships is well over 100 is really impressive and shows how good of a job the township has done keeping on top of this and making sure that the funds are available to pay for this liability as it comes due. A very impressive status of that plan. And the last slide in this presentation is a quick look at the water and sewer funds, revenues and operating revenues and expenditures for the previous 3 years. So as you can see from this slide, the revenues, expenditures, and expenditures excluding depreciation have all stayed relatively flat year over year, which is what you'd expect in an environment where rates are not changing. So you can see that revenues did have a slight decline from the previous year. Expenditures went up very slightly, but overall, it remained in a position where revenues were exceeding expenditures, allowing for the water and sewer fund to use this excess on non-operating items such as interest expense on its debt. So a strong performance in the water and sewer fund as well.
Great, thank you.
Good evening. Thank you to my team here. Any questions on the slides, the audit report, the report to the board? Echo what Justin said. You guys are in, and as a resident, we're in really strong shape financially, so we can strategically look at things like roads and other areas within the township and address them in a very strategic fashion It's great that we don't have to make emotional financial decisions in Macomb Township. We can make sound fiscal decisions. So and that's where we're at. And so it's great that we're all, we can meet together, we can do things, and this community's really come together well.
Thank you. Is there any questions from any of the board?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I have a question. What is the driver for the decrease in revenue on the water, operating revenue on water and sewage? Is it lack of consumption?
I call it rain. So
Okay.
it really does depend on if you have a wet summer, reduces consumption, or consumption which is sprinkling of the lawns, with the exception of a few of my neighbors that will do it regardless of how much it rains. But if it's like me, I turn off the sprinklers when it's raining, which was the case. I didn't even turn mine on until July this summer because it was nice and green until it got dry. So there's that always plays into it, is because really what a water and sewer fund is a business, and so you're selling services, water and obviously sewage, and so a lot of it is demand, and the biggest driver in consumption for most communities in our area is how much we water our lawns, or fill our pools, and you only do that a little bit. So the weather drives it. I know it sounds funny, but I'll be at a community and go, oh, it's a dry summer. We know that it's going to be good for water and sewer, even though we tell everybody every other day and the whole thing. But when it rains, you don't need to, we all have seen our water bills. And
Right.
so how many don't have that rain indicator on your house, so when it rains, your sprinklers don't go off? That is good investment, by the way.
Thank you.
So long answer, but I always laugh as I walk around the neighborhood and see that. So
Any other questions from the board? Go ahead, Peter.
I am 100% on board with overfunding the healthcare, but is there a threshold, a percentage where you're too overfunded?
great question. I haven't seen one. So you guys are a unicorn in the healthcare funding, and so. As you look, as it plays out, there may, we'll see the trends in 5-10 years from now. If we're still overfunded, we can sort of bleed it down. But right now, I think you don't want to lose your position of strength. This is outstanding. In all seriousness, most communities are seeing a high percentage of every dollar come in, pay legacy costs, and not really go to current activities and operations. Not the case in Macomb Township.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Any other questions? Thank you for your report. Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you. Really
and with-
appreciate it.
With that, is there a motion to receive and file the report from Plant Moran?
So moved.
Support. Is there any discussion? Motion by Clerk Posey, supported by Treasurer Gillette to receive and file. Members, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Our next presentation, thank you, gentlemen, is our grant writer, Liz Rowe. And she's going to give us a progress update.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me. You've already received the report, so I won't read it word by word, but I wanted to just pick up on a few things that I wanted to bring your attention to. The first is, and they kind of stole my thunder here because they used the word that I was going to use, and that's strategy. There's a lot of opportunities that came up this year for us to pursue in terms of grant activity, and had we not had a program in place, we would not have done it, and we would not have been able to do it. And that takes a lot of strategy and a lot of work, not just on your part, but my part, and then also with developing relationships with people across the state, grant coordinators in certain state departments, people at SEMCOG, people in the county, people in various other organizations. That takes a lot of time and effort on everybody's part here and the team that I work with. And I'd just like to thank you all for the opportunity. And because of that, we were very happy to end the year having received approximately $304,000 in grants this year. The bulk of that came from a state TAP grant, that's Transportation Access Program. It is not, I guess, for public consumption yet, because there are certain things that we have to achieve as a township before we receive the funding. One of them being building the crosswalk at 25 Mile by Macomb Corners Park, which is completed if you've driven past it. And then a few other sort of technical items and making sure we get timelines and everything to the state before, I believe it's February 1st. So you'll be able to make a public announcement about that in the new year. We also, as a result of the TAP grant, received $50,000 from Macomb County Department of Roads. That was a matching grant to help cover that. So the funding for this whole project from the township, I think, is approximately costing you about $50,000, give or take. I'm not a mathematician, but as a result, we will be able to better connect our township center here with the rest of the neighborhoods accompanying it, and hopefully have a few more projects coming down the pike that will help make our township a little bit better. And that's when I wanted to go into the DNR Spark grants, which we were alerted to this opportunity earlier this year. I think it was around August, when there was talk of how the state was going to be using some of the COVID funding that they received from the federal government, and what kind of projects and different things would come as a result of that. And when they finally finished the budget, there was an earmark for what they would call Spark grants, which would be grants to improve recreational opportunities for communities across the state of Michigan. So Leon, Frank, and then Jody Claycomb and I, we're carefully following the developments of that. We made several contacts and inroads with different people to get kind of an advance notice about what these grants would look like, what the requirements would be. And we were able to file and apply for 2 grants, one totaling $1 million, which will help Pitchford Park build an inclusive playground, and the other for $980,000, which would help finish the pathway around the McBride Pond. We will find out if we're successful in those endeavors in the first of the year, hopefully. But there are 2 more rounds of the Spark grants, and each community has an opportunity to file 3 applications. So we have 1 left. So I guess it remains to be seen. That'll be the big surprise and reveal, I guess, the next time I come give an update. And then the other item that I did not put in the update is that we were able to, thanks to the county, plant 100 trees this year, thanks to a Consumers Energy grant. And then we will also be planting 100 more at Pitchford Park, thanks to the same grant. So overall, I would just say that it's been a real pleasure getting to know everybody here at the township. I really enjoy the work that I'm doing here. And I really hope that over time we can build a very successful grant program where we're getting projects into the pipeline and we're successfully applying for and then receiving funding to help offset the cost to the township.
Thank you, Ms. Rowe. Any questions for our grant writer? Okay. No questions? All right. Thank you.
Liz.
Appreciate it. Motion to receive and file the update.
So move.
Support.
Any discussion? Motion by, was that Peter?
No.
Motion by Treasurer Gillette, supported by Charlie, Trustee Oliver, to receive and file. Motion. Members, please vote. It is his name.
Correct.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
All right, this will take us to new business. The first item is a request to award a contract for the water and sewer rate study and the water and sewer connection fee study to Utility Financial Solutions. Total contract amount is $48,450. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Mr. Johnson.
All right. Good evening, Board. So coming to you this evening for a water rate and connection fee study. And I want to give you a little bit of background on the difference between what this is compared to what you've approved in the past. So prior to this, or earlier this year, or the last one you approved from UFS, that was considered a financial projection. So what that dealt with was watching for minimum cash reserves, debt coverage ratios, target operating income, and rate track for the planning, for planning on the horizon. So I know it's a lot of accounting terminology, but that was kind of the focus of that study. What this one's going to include with the water rate study is a cost of service. So what it's also going to include is making sure that we provide rates that cover the cost of serving the residents, aligning rates with operational costs, reviewing methodology and how we approach the water bills and such to make sure it's logical and sound. Make sure we're not subsidizing costs between classes. What that means is, we have residential, non-residential, industrial, things like that. So we're making sure that costs are being covered appropriately. We're not double charging twice for the same thing. And then also helping with future financial planning. So that's similar to what I'm doing with the Great Lakes Water Authority methodology group I'm a part of. We're doing the similar thing on their level, making sure that the cost of pumping and electrical is being associated with the proper charges that we're getting charged as a community from Great Lakes on an annual basis. This is a similar idea on a local level. On top of that, we're doing a connection fee study, which is more reviewing of how, when you're connecting to our existing system, how charges are applied, making sure that the methodology, again, is sound, that we're using the proper charges that are needed based on today's costs associated with the projects, which haven't raised those costs in a while, so they're probably going to raise a little bit. And just making sure that overall everything's functioning as one, a well-oiled machine. So we're kind of taking a look at the overall picture of the water and sewer charges to make sure everything is going to be properly addressed. With that, so we went out for bid on this. 2 companies came back with the proposals, UFS, which is Utility Financial Solutions, and HRC, Hubbell, Roth & Clark. And with them, as you guys know, you've dealt with UFS in the past. This is what they specialize in. It is what they do. It is their niche. They're very good at what they do in this. HRC is an engineering firm. They cover the gamut on a lot of different topics. So they have done stuff like this, for other communities, but this is UFS's bread and butter. So our review group, we went over, we first scored them individually, met as a group, scored everything, came up with UFS being the overall favorite in terms of, because of the reasons I said there, this is very niche and specialized for what they do. And so with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Questions and discussion from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple questions.
Sure. Frank, can I just ask you to talk into the mic? It's a little bit
Yeah,
louder
sure.
today than normal.
The cost of service for the different size pipe diameters, is that something that is going to take 3 years in order to make that determination with UFSC, or are they going to review it every year? I guess the overarching question is do we necessarily have to engage in a 3-year contract to review this, or can we parse it out over the course of a longer period of time and have them come in and review it? Because, Mr. Chairman, it is almost $50,000. That's my question.
Oh, great question. So with UFS, their recommendation is a 1-year rate look in this instance. So what we could look at, it is a possibility that, we could look at multiple, if you want to look at it every other year, things of that nature, I'm sure that's definitely something we could entertain. And then HRC is they're willing to provide a spreadsheet that the township could potentially complete ourselves, but there is some concern that, and I'm happy to have Stacy's here to answer any questions you may have as well financially, but the concern might lie is if there's some major financial changes that happen it might not be as simple as just plugging numbers into a spreadsheet and seeing what could happen with it. So there's some concern about how that may look. So I'm sure we could figure out an avenue to maybe it's not every year looking at it, but maybe it's every other year.
Well, could you describe that process for me? As I understand it, we feed the numbers up to Ms. Lund's organization, and she makes adjustments on the spreadsheet that would affect our decision-making for rate making, correct?
Yeah, so there's conversations of, you know, what we're spending for capital projects, when the right time might be to have to go out for a bond because we have to spend money on specific projects based on the capital plan and the budget. So there's a lot of different nuances that are entertained when we're having those things, and us just plugging into a spreadsheet might necessarily be the goal is when you're doing these studies to make sure they're clear and defensible. And typically when you have somebody, a third party, you want to have a third party kind of make sure that happens to help it be more clearly defensible in court.
Okay, so I guess
This isn't going to be the same
my
cost every
question-
time. It's not going to be this cost every time. The next time they review it, it'll be pared down. Connection fees will be once every 5 years or so, 5 to 10 years. This will be minimal moving forward.
in your answer, you introduced a topic that was a little bit of a surprise to me. As far as I know, we're going to be self-funding the improvements through the fund balance,
Yes.
not necessarily incurring any debt. Is that?
Yeah, I'm not saying right now we're incurring debt, but what'll happen is as the projection lies out, there may come a point where she sees something and that may happen. When that's going to be, I don't know. That's what she'll present to us and provide that answer or solution based on the capital spending, the capital plan you guys approve, and the budget you approve for the water and sewer department.
All right, thank you, Mr. Johnson.
You're welcome.
That's all I have.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Johnson, this is a one-year contract, is it not?
Correct.
Okay, so we're not bound by this particular, if we make this decision tonight, next year we can make the decision whether or not we want to engage in another study or do it on a wider, a longer period of time between studies, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make that clear because it's a one-year contract.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question on that subject because I'm apparently misapprehending this. The $48,000 is for a single study? I mean,
It's for a single study. That's basically has three parts. One is the connection fee. One is the sewer, and one is the water. So yes, it is for 1 year.
And they would all be under the rubric of cost of service?
Yes.
Yes.
So
I think the connection fee. So it's a little. This got a little combined because we talked about the connection fee a long time ago as something that needed to be done. And what did we say? Every 5 years was recommended.
Correct. Correct.
So that's one study, and then the other two parts are the same thing we've done year after year, except for this particular year, they are proposing to do
Cost of
add
service.
another
Yes.
portion of the analysis, which would be the cost of service analysis.
Yeah, and that would not happen annually.
Okay, and that would not happen annually. So does that?
Yeah, that answers my question. I don't know the answer because when I reviewed the packet, the material from the other bidder wasn't there. What was their bid?
Do you have that number?
Yeah. So the UFS bid was $48,450. HRC was $40,920.
About $8,000 less.
Yeah.
And is there any reason to believe that the other qualified bidder is not qualified or able to do this work?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Trustee Kuzmano.
Mr. Chairman, if I may refer to Mr. Johnson, you did mention, though, the difference between the two companies was that the expertise lied in
Right. UFS.
yes, and the other one was an engineering company.
Right.
Not that you didn't feel confident that they could do it, but their
Correct.
expertise would not play a part if, in fact, we had to defend any of our actions in court.
Right.
Am I repeating that correctly?
In a manner of speaking, I mean, HRC could do the work, but it's UFS. This is they do this all the time. So the team would be more comfortable utilizing them in terms of those type of issues.
Okay, thank you.
Forward, yep.
Okay. Any other questions or things you want to discuss?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for legal counsel through the chair. Is it really I can't see.
He can hear you.
Kind of like this, Frank.
Is it a realistic threat to the township about suing under a theory of rate making being improper or not legitimate at this point, given the state of the law in the Michigan courts?
So, my opinion is yes, because I have been dealt in dealing with a number of class action lawsuits in other communities, whether it be stormwater sewer charges or other sewer charges or millage rates with the fire and police. So there's a firm in particular in Michigan who is being very aggressive, and my recommendation is that we put ourselves in the best position to defend ourselves in that circumstance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee Kuzma. If there's no more questions, there is a motion by Trustee Lucido, supported by Trustee Nevers, to award the contract for water and sewer rate study and water and sewer connection fee study to UFS in the amount of $48,450. Members, please vote. Motion passes 6-1 with Trustee Kuzmano voting no. All right, moving on to the next item is a request to approve the purchase of an excavator from AIS Construction Equipment and a trailer from Michigan Cat. Total purchase would be $132,772.41. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Support.
Mr. Johnson?
All right, this is a budgeted item. We budgeted $150,000 for new equipment to replace a 1991 backhoe that we have. So this excavator is going to be more efficient, user-friendly for all the other projects we're going to be doing. So we're recommending approval to get this excavator as well as the trailer to trailer it around. And I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And you did say this was a budgeted item, and
Yes.
the original budget was $150,000, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none. Motion by Treasurer Gillette, supported by Trustee Lucido, to approve the purchase of the excavator and the trailer in the amount of $132,772.41. Members, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item is a request to authorize the sale of multiple outdated assets from the DPW department. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Mr. Johnson?
All right, so these items will be, given approval, will be sold immediately, except for the 1991 Cat 426 backhoe. That will be sold once the excavator is in our possession, which will be approximately 8 months. So I'm just doing this kind of all in one bucket, but everything else is, we've already had replacement pieces for these, and so getting rid of them is just, they've kind of just been sitting and haven't been used, so it just makes sense to sell them and get the revenue for them.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none. Motion by Trustee Oliver, supported by Treasurer Gillette, to sell all the outdated assets from the DPW. Members, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Then the next item is a request to approve the DTE Energy cap agreement and payment for the permanent relocation of equipment in the vicinity of 21560 23 Mile Road. Total amount is $8,812.07.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Support.
Mr. Johnson?
All right, this is a part of the 2022 sanitary sewer improvement project, so the cost will be covered. This is basically taking the telephone pole in front of the township-owned house, moving it from one side of the driveway to the other, so we can install some sewer pipe that will get to our new lift station that they're currently installing. So we're just asking the request for a supervisor to sign the agreement so we can pay this bill and get it scheduled to move.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any questions or discussion? Motion by Treasurer Gillette, supported by Trustee Oliver, to approve the DTE Energy Cap Agreement and payment for the permanent relocation of equipment in the vicinity of 21560 23 Mile Road, $8,812.07. Members, please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. The next item is a request to promote one paid-on-call lieutenant and three?
Sergeants, two.
Sorry, two
Three
paid-on-call
total.
sergeants. Three total. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Mr. Tabaka.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and board members. I'm requesting to fill our paid-on-call lieutenant and 2 sergeant positions. HR recruited for these positions and received 10 applications. Those candidates met all the qualifications and were invited for a written test on October 5th, 2022. Candidates that passed the written examination were sent for Part A of the psychological evaluation. Those candidates were then interviewed by the selection committee as outlined in the CBA. The selection committee is recommending Ray Yankowski for the paid-on-call lieutenant, Kyle Yankowski for the paid-on-call sergeant, and Vito Danelli for the paid-on-call sergeant. We do have Vito and Kyle in the audience today. If approved, it's contingent upon successful completion of Part B of the psychological evaluation. This is a budgeted position, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Tabaka. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, motion by Trustee Lucido, supported by Trustee Nevers, to promote Ray Yankowski to lieutenant and Sergeant Vito Daniele to sergeant and Sergeant Kyle Yankowski to sergeant. Members, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Congratulations.
Moving on to item 14. This is a request to approve a site condo final plan for Cortona Park on parcel ID number 0805100040.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Mr. Box.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board. This site condo final plan was before you as a preliminary plan previously and was approved. They have now gone through engineering and are back with their final plan. This is a small single-family development. It's about 4.5 acres and it has 12 units in it. This is near 26 Mile and Romeo Plank and was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Box. Any questions or discussion? Motion by Treasurer Gillette, supported by Clerk Posey, to approve the site condo final plan for Cortona Park, parcel ID 0805100040. Members, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to item 15. This is a rezoning request. This is from office, low rise, to commercial local. Parcel IDs 0808101046, 0808101045. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Is there any questions or discussion? Hearing none. Motion by Trustee Oliver, supported by Treasurer Gillette, to approve the zoning request from Office 01 to Commercial C1 on parcel IDs 0808101046 and 045. Members, please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Mr. Chair, I move to advance items 16 and 17 as a single item and that they have the same purpose.
Thank you, Treasurer Gillette. Is there a motion to approve the rezoning request? This would be from residential R1S to flex use, and this would be for parcel IDs 0808126012, 0817451018, 024, and 025.
Trustee Kuzmano makes the motion on the 2 items.
Support.
Mr. Box?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board. You may recall a number of months ago, the township made the move to remove all of the R1S zoned parcels from the books in the township. We found a conflict with that zoning category and with the master plan itself. That included the previous master plan as well as the newly adopted master plan. There were a few outstanding parcels, the ones for items 16, 17, 18 you see on your agenda tonight. A number of those we are recommending to be rezoned to the flex use, which was recently adopted, that being items 16 and 17. They were voted to be recommended for approval by the Planning Commission last night unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Box. Are there any questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none. Motion to rezone from R1S to Flex for parcel numbers 0808-126-012, 0817-451-018, 024, and 025. Members, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. The next item is also a rezoning request for the same reason, but this one is for to rezone from R1S to one family urban, which is R1. And this would be for parcel IDs 0828-101-005, 0828-151-005, and 006. Is there a motion to approve?
Trustee Kuzma makes the motion.
Support.
Mr. Box?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board. Much like the last item, this is just cleaning up the few remaining parcels of R1S within the township. These were initially planned to be rezoned to R2L, but we did find that the parcels are too small to fit that category, so we revised it, and they're back before you this evening as R1. And if approved, this would fully remove R1S from the zoning category at this time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Box. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, motion by Trustee Kuzmano, supported by Treasurer Gillette, to approve the rezoning request from R1S to R1 for parcel IDs 0828-101-005, 0828-151-005, and 006. Members, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Box. Moving on to item 19. This is a request to purchase air lifting bags in the amount of $18,500. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Chief?
Mr. Supervisor, members of the board, I'm requesting your approval this evening to purchase a set of Paratech Maxi Force air lift bags and control kit. The airbags are used in response to vehicle accidents, industrial accidents, and for shoring of trench collapse. Our current airbags are just over 15 years old, and we've been required to remove them from service due to their age. The equipment that I'm recommending is the same brand that we currently have, and the proposed equipment is very similar to what we have been using. The set consists of 11 different sized airbags. The control kit consists of the hoses, valves, and controls required to operate them. Apollo Fire Equipment is the only authorized dealer in the state of Michigan for the Paratech brand. I included the confirmation letter from the purchasing specialist, along with the letter from the manufacturer stating that Apollo is the only authorized dealer in the state. The purchase of these airbags was included in the budget, and with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, motion by Trustee Oliver, supported by Treasurer Gillette, to approve the purchase of air lifting bags in the amount of $18,500. Members, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. The next item is a request to purchase 59 Motorola 800 megahertz radios. Total amount is $337,281.05.
So move.
Support.
Even though it mega hurts at this price.
Chief?
Mr. Supervisor, members of the board, I'm requesting your approval this evening to purchase 59 Motorola 800 megahertz radios and the needed accessories. Our current radios are 16 years old and have reached their end of life. Parts and service are no longer provided for the current radios. Last year, you approved the purchase of 16 radios under the previous budget. They've been received and have been working without any issues. The 59 that I'm requesting will complete the process of replacing all of our handheld radios.
The needed accessories include the lapel microphones, spare batteries, and the battery chargers. The quote was obtained through the MyDeal contract from the state of Michigan that they have with Motorola. I included the confirmation of process letter from the purchasing specialist, and the replacement and the purchasing of the radios was included in the current budget. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions or discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yep.
I looked this up. I think on March 23rd, 2022, we purchased 16 Motorola radios at a cost of $100,140, which extended out, or divided out rather, to $6,258.75 each. Making that same division in the case of this purchase of 59 phones at $337,281 is a per unit cost of $57.1664, or a decline of $542 per unit, 9% less. Do you have any reason? Is it because of the volume of the purchase that, or?
It was the volume of the purchase, and then in the previous order, we did order some of the banks for the chargers that we needed. That included what we'll be purchasing now, so that was included in that previous order.
Okay, so that would explain the decline, because we're being told repeatedly that everything costs more money, and in this case is 9% less per unit. But that answers my question, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Trustee Kuzma. Any other questions? Motion by Treasurer Gillette, supported by Trustee Oliver, to approve the purchase of 59 Motorola radios in the amount of $337,281.05. Members, please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Oh, I lost my page. Okay. Moving on to the next item. This is a request to approve the single hauler waste collection and disposal program request for proposal. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Support.
Janet?
Good evening, Board. The GFL contract for waste collection and disposal services for residential dwelling units in Macomb Township will expire September 30th of next year. Per the Code of Ordinances, the selection of an authorized waste hauler requires to utilize a sealed competitive bid procedure. Additionally, the ordinance requires that the Township Board develop and approve the bid specifications. With input from various stakeholders and the previous RFP, the attached request for proposal was developed. The bid specifications at this time will permit the solicitation to be posted in 2022, and a recommendation to the board hopefully in May of 2023. This leaves us an approximately 4-month period to transition, do a transition plan if need be. With that,
Thank
I can
you.
answer any questions.
Any questions or discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I might, as I mentioned to you before the meeting started, I was concerned regarding attachment M to the fee proposal, which on its face indicates that the proposed rates be based, among other things, as a senior status being under the age of 65. That is a departure from the contract, as I understand it, that was renewed in 2020, which allowed for a $3 per month discount, senior discount. That was in the original contract in 2015, and I hope that the approval of the request for proposal isn't in a roundabout way changing that senior discount level.
Janet, do you know why there may be a discrepancy there, or no?
No, I don't. It's just we're just looking for the contractor to propose the discount. That was part of the discussion that we have, rather than
Chairman,
dictating the amount of the discount.
I'd be more comfortable if friendly amendment that Schedule M be amended to read that the request for proposals be for residential customers under the age of 60. I'm sorry, seniors age 60 plus, not, and I can,
If I may, Mr. Chair, would it be possible to amend the motion to state that we're approving this bid for proposal and that the purchasing agent has the authority to adjust the age to be consistent with our current, the proposal bid to be consistent with our current contract, just so we can double check to make sure everything is aligned, because I understand what you're saying. We don't want to
could-
change the age on folks on the discount.
I guess if I could make another suggestion, it's like we did with some other things, we could remove that entirely and have the bidders propose also the age of the discount, and then the selection committee can negotiate that through interviews. Would you rather do it that way?
yes, Mr. Chairman, as a member of the community that was born in 1962, I'd hate to have that $3 a month discount snatched away from me when I fought so hard to attain it.
You made it this far, you kind of earned it.
So,
I'm comfortable doing it either way. I was just throwing out another option. We can either go to 60. I'm gonna defer to Janet here. Would you like to change the age to 60 in the RFP, or would you like it leave it open-ended and let them propose a?
I think it would be cleaner to have all apples to apples quotes to
Okay.
change it to the age 60.
Age 60, and I'm good with that.
So we have a
Motion to approve, subject to-
amendment by trustee Kuzmano to amend it to 60, to amend the main motion, to approve this contingent upon the proposal being changed to reflect age of 60 for a senior discount.
So you're amending your motion?
Well, Mr.
I'm
Kuzmano's
making
proposed the amendment,
proposing the amendment,
and I'm seconding his proposed
unanimous
amendment.
consent.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Who made the original motion?
Drollet.
I made the original motion.
He usually amends his motion.
He amended his own motion. Okay,
No, I'm
that's-
not
I'm just
amending.
trying to
I'm
clarify.
seconding the
He was
amendment to my motion.
He was seconding Frank's, but in the past, I think we've always had the motion maker amend his own motion and then re-support it.
That's correct. That's why I'm asking.
So that's why
I'm seconding my amended motion.
I think you should say amendment and 60 one more time.
I support the Second Amendment.
I'm gonna to clean this up. Treasurer Gillette, would you amend your motion to reflect that the age of 60 instead of 60B5 be included in, I believe it's M,
Attachment M.
attachment M.
I do.
Trustee Lucido, do you still support that amended motion?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Are we good now?
Yes.
Procedurally, okay. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none. Motion by Treasurer Gillette, supported by Trustee Lucido, to approve the single waste hauler collection and disposal program request for proposal, subject to a change on attachment M to reflect the age of 60. Members, please vote. Leon's trying to change our process all in the middle up here. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Janet.
Thank you, Board.
Moving on to item 22. This is a request to approve the Township of Macomb, County of Macomb, State of Michigan real property tax poverty exemption resolution for 2023. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Kim?
Yes, Mr. Chairman and board members, the assessing department is requesting the board adopt the 2023 real property tax poverty exemption resolution and guidelines to reflect the new income level standards applicants must meet to apply for a poverty exemption consideration. If you have any questions?
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
What is this dollar amount, so we can state for the public record what the poverty guideline would be?
The federal poverty guidelines, we take that federal poverty guidelines and then we increase it by 1.35%, which has been a standard for years. And then so it starts off being a family of one. Federal poverty guideline was 13,590. We increase it to 18,346. And then a family of 2 is 24,718. Family of 3, 31,090. Family of 4, 37,462. Family of 5, 43,834. Family of 6, 50,206. Family of 7, 56,578.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Well, I was at the end anyways.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if there was going to be a family of 50.
No, nope, that was the end.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you for the clarification. I appreciate
No
it.
problem.
Thank you, Treasurer Gillette. Thank you. Any other questions or discussion?
I just had one question, if I could. I don't know if you have the number right here, but as I've understood it, we don't usually have that many actually apply for it.
We don't.
How many did we have last
We
year?
had 4 this year, 3 were denied, 1 was approved.
Okay. Thank you.
4 times more than we had the year before.
We usually have about 3 or 4 every year.
If there's no more questions, I have a motion by Treasurer Gillette, supported by Trustee Lucido, to approve the Township of Macomb, County of Macomb, State of Michigan real property tax exemption resolution for 2023. Clerk Posey, will you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Treasurer Drollet.
Yes.
Trustee Lucido.
Yes.
Trustee Kuzimano.
Yes.
Trustee Oliver.
Yes.
Trustee Nevers.
Yes.
Clerk Posey, yes. Supervisor Viviano.
Yes. The resolution is adopted. Thank you, Kim. Moving on to item 23. This is a request to approve the Building Board of Appeals reappointment. And this would be to reappoint Mr. Frank Bayer through a 2-year term that expires on December 31st, 2024. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Any questions? Motion by Clerk Posey, supported by Trustee Oliver, to reappoint Frank Bayer to the Building Board of Appeals for a 2-year term expiring December 31st, 2024. Members, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. The next appointment is to fill one of the open positions on the Historical Commission. Is there a motion to approve Mr. Greg Ulinski to the Historical Commission?
So moved. Support.
Any questions or discussion?
Shouldn't this be under old business? Never mind.
Motion by Trustee Oliver, supported by Clerk Posey, to approve Greg Ulinski to the Historical Commission for a 3-year term expiring December 31st, 2025. Members, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. The next item, there's a request. This is a request to designate a new name for the property acquired at 52172 North Avenue.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to move that we designate 52172 North Avenue as the Macomb Township River Park.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I actually have a Christmas gift for the township, and given this particular agenda item, I think now would be appropriate time, if I may.
You sure? All right. It's well wrapped. So I have a note. Dear colleagues and fellow Macomb Township citizens, in the spirit of the holiday season, the family of Paul G. Lucido would like to give a gift to all of our friends and neighbors here in Macomb Township. If my colleagues would accept, we wish to donate the purchase price of the recently acquired property on North Avenue in the amount of $125,000 to Macomb Township, so that this future park will be dedicated in the honor of Paul and Annette Lucido, our parents. My father passed away in 2017, but he will not soon be forgotten. He was a pillar of the community in Macomb County, where he raised his family and created a business. My entire family now lives here in Macomb Township, and we feel this would be a great way to give back to the community that gave so much to my father and for his memory to endure. On behalf of my family, we hope you will accept this gift. Merry Christmas. Peter J. Lucido III, Macomb Township Trustee.
Well, Mr. Chairman, and I'd like to amend my motion.
Please.
I'd like to recast the motion as a motion to designate 52172 North Avenue as a Paul and Annette Lucido River Park, contingent upon the formal acceptance of a contribution agreement with the donor.
Support.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
in light of the decision being made, I am going to abstain from the vote.
Of course, Trustee Lucido. So if there's no more discussion, motion by Treasurer Gillette, supported by Clerk Posey, to designate 52172 North Avenue as the Paul and Annette Lucido River Park, contingent upon acceptance of a donation agreement with the donor. Members, please vote. That motion passes 6-0 with Trustee Lucido abstaining. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
And thank you, your family.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Peter.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Will do.
Very generous.
All right, this brings us to board public comment. This would be for non-agenda items. Anyone wishes to participate in public comment may approach the microphone. Anyone participating remotely may digitally raise their hand. Do we have anybody remotely?
No, sir.
Okay, nobody present. So we're going to move on to board comments. Trustee Lucido.
Just a few things. Just congratulate the Township Finance Department for keeping us in such a healthy financial position this year. Thank you. Congratulations to the 3 promoted firefighters. I personally have known Vito for a very long time, and I know the man he is, and he is a asset to the community. I don't know the other 2 gentlemen personally, but I just want to mention that about Vito. So congratulations to all of you, and just wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Lucido. Trustee Nevers.
Yes, I too would like to congratulate the 3 firefighters, and Vito, good job. Also, I would like to thank the 3 full-time elected officials for making this a very Merry Christmas. The decorations, I know, Recreation Department allowed some of their trinkets here. It was very, very delightful to come in and see all of this, and so I thank you, and it's fun to be a part of this board.
Thank you, Trustee Nevers. Trustee Oliver.
I'll make it short.
No, you won't.
Again, Stacy, thank you for all your help you've done on that. That was great. Thanks for the firefighters for continuing our service. We really appreciate that. Makes our community safe. And Peter, that was quite generous. Thank you very much, and your family.
Thank you.
And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to staff and the board.
Thank you,
That's
Trustee
it.
Oliver. Trustee Kuzmano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. I too want to acknowledge the generous contribution by the Lucido family in memory of his parents. It's a really a legacy that will be remembered, I'm sure, and it's much appreciated. Congratulations to the new and advanced hires, and I just wanted to say that I did vote no because one of the things on the issue with the contract with UFS, I'm always cognizant of the dollars adding up. I did acknowledge that almost $32,000 was saved on those Motorola radios. And the 48,000, which is, and reasonable minds can disagree on the value of the services of UFS. So, but my point is not to degrade or denigrate that organization. It's just I'm always hunting for bargains, including for the seniors who have reached the age of 60, who waited the years and years in order to get that discount, and that as long as I'm on this board, I'll continue to do that good work. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Trustee Kuzmano. Treasurer Gillette.
Mr. Chair, nothing will ever top the gift that our trustee Lucido gave to our community on a night like tonight. So thank you so much for that. That is certainly something the community can enjoy for generations to come. So it's a gift that will give for many, many years. I do have a few prepared comments I'd like to read, if I may.
Oh, you're asking?
Yeah, may I?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thought you were already speaking.
No. So, 'twas a week before Christmas, and all through Macomb, residents bought presents and decorated their homes. At Macomb Township Hall gathered elected trustees who care, knowing residents can be comforted by the staff that works there. The township children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of a new local park danced in their heads. Mama was hoping the local roads could get better, while Papa watched the township board meeting in a garish Christmas sweater. Meanwhile, out in the street there rose nary a clatter, because the fire department and the deputies worked to ensure nothing was the matter. And the Parks and Rep department doesn't need a flying sleigh to deliver children and residents more opportunities to play. The Public Works crew ensures safe water will flow, often working outside in the new fallen snow. No water rate hikes in over 3 years is more of a miracle than 8 flying reindeers. With engineering, planning, building staff so caring and quick, the value they produce for residents rivals St. Nick's. The assessing department works all year with care to ensure every resident's tax treatment is fair. The clerk's office works hard to keep a democracy safe, secure, and fast, and are cheerful the election is over at last. The Treasury Department and Finance work together to ensure township finances and annual audit is better than ever. The township supervisor knows the best gift he can give is ethical government and a safe, affordable place to live. Now HR, now purchasing, now vendors and IT. Together, let's make Macomb the very best it can be. So Merry Christmas to every township resident and family.
Well done, Treasurer Gillette. Well done.
Nice job.
Clerk Posey, top that.
Wow. Well, I forgot my Dr. Seuss book at home this evening. But I think Macomb Township has a lot to be thankful for. Obviously, we have the generous donation by the Lucido family, which is going to put another amazing park in Macomb Township. I'm thankful for all of our employees that work so hard throughout the year to ensure that we as board members can do our job efficiently and effectively. I'd like to congratulate the firefighters that were promoted this evening. That's a great way to start your new year. And also all the first responders and healthcare providers that work throughout the holidays to ensure our safety and well-being. So Merry Christmas to all of our residents, all of our employees, and my colleagues here on the board, and I'm looking forward to a great new year in 2023.
Thank you, Clerk Posey. Congratulations to our appointees to the Historical Commission and the Board of Appeals. Congratulations to the newly promoted firefighters. Kyle, please send my congratulations to your father, Ray. I do want to mention a couple of business items. We do have a vacancy on the ZBA. We can take applications on the website. You can contact the supervisor's office or the planning office for more information. We're accepting applications on the website over the new year and then for at least a few days when we get back from the break. Also, speaking of the break, Macomb Township offices are closed from December 23rd through January 2nd. However, the offices will be open for 1 day on December 27th. Anybody who needs to come in and pay their tax bill. And this will be from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Now, I was going to wish everybody Merry Christmas myself, but I wanted to get some help from some friends because I thought that they could do it better. So if my friends would come in and join us.
Oh, dear.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring. Snowing and blowing up bushels of fun. Now the jingle hop has begun. Hey! Jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells chime and jingle bells on. Dancing and prancing and jingle bells square. Jingle bell time, it's a swell time to go riding in a one-horse sleigh. Giddy up, jingle horse, kick up your feet. Jingle around the clock.
Jingle your feet.
Jingling feet. That's the Jingle Bell Rock. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock.
Okay, that's good.
Jingle bells chime and jingle bells time. Dancing and prancing and jingle bells swing. In the frosty air. What a bright time. It's the right time to rock the night away. Everyone together.
Jingle bell
Time, it's a swell time to go rocking in a one-horse sleigh.
Giddy up,
Jingle horse, pick up your feet. Jingle around the clock. Mix and a mingle in the jingling thing. That's the jingle bell. That's the jingle bell. That's the jingle bell rock.
Whoa, I missed it.
That was fantastic. So
outstanding job.
we are going to do an encore performance, but this time, everybody here, please join us up here in the front.
And that means all you people up here, come on up.
kidding.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Can I sing from here?
Wow.
Stay back here.
You're right. Far away from the microphone. I'm coming.
All right, where's our carolers? You going to start us off? All right, ready? Merry Little Christmas.
One, two, three, four. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your hearts be light. Next year all our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. Next year all our troubles will be miles away. Once again as in old days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us will be near to us once more. Someday soon we all will be together if the fates allow. Until then we'll have to muddle through somehow. So have yourself a merry little Christmas now.
I used to sing back in the day. Well, thank you, you too.
Well, that's something you don't see every day.
It was a perfect.
Thank you to our carolers, Brooke Posey and the Posiettes. And I think with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Trustee Kuzmano makes the motion to adjourn.
Rusty. Kuzmano's motion is seconded.
Motion by
By the
trustee
treasurer.
Kuzmano, supported by treasurer Gillette, to adjourn the meeting. Any discussion?
Benjamin, the lawyer.
Members, please vote.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Oh, look at that. 7:40.
This meeting is adjourned.